You gonna join us? Come out of your office? So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get started this morning. As many of you, if you read the newsletter, yes, Mandy Meat is supposed to be joining us, but she'll join us towards the second half of our program. So I imagine we'll realize when she's here, when there's like a bit of sound at that end, and it'll slowly start moving. Oh, so we'll know when she's arrived. I have no doubt about that. But welcome this morning. We've got people online as well, both on Zoom and on our Facebook group. How many of you are in our Facebook group, our private one? How many of you are on the Realty One group? What is it? The new listings. Okay. If you have a property that is not yet on the market, please do not put that in our Facebook group. Because guess what? We have lenders, we have title, we have people that are not Realty One Group agents. Even though it's our private group, they're not Realty One Group agents. So please don't put those new listings there, because technically you've just kind of advertising to the public. I know it's not really the public. Please do that on the one exclusives, so that everyone in Arizona, in our big Maricopa County area, will see your new listings. Trust me, that is going to be the hot property. And start looking there if you're looking for stuff, because we all know the listings are limited, right? All right, let's get started. Happy birthday. Who has a September birthday here? What? Okay, all right, there we got a few. There are a lot of agents with birthdays this month.
I'm very busy.
That's right. That's right. Now, here's the one. Look at how many people have been here in this office. Is Beverly here? 12 years. I think that's the only one that, and Fiona, that comes close to my 15 years here, but most of you have started as Realty One Group grew over the last, say, 5 years. So, all right, what do we have next? Believe it or not, we are still active, very active. So, of course, these numbers are not what they have been, right? 72 million, and I think last month was 89 million, right? But that's still $72 million just out of this office, okay? 151 lives. Thank you for helping all those wonderful families all across the state. And yes, it really is across the state, not just in Maricopa County. We have agents that cover Payson, Flagstaff, Tucson, all over. So those are included in these numbers. As you guys always like to see, let's look at the numbers. I should actually, let me go up. Who thinks the market is slowing down? Is the market speeding up? Are we racing? What do you think? Give me a guess. Steady market. Okay. Well, let's look at those numbers. Believe it or not, last month, almost all of these were red. Look at how many moved to green. Now, they haven't jumped by leaps and bounds. We didn't jump by 10,000 listings. But we did jump by 1,000 UCB and pending, which is pretty incredible. Honestly, if you think about it, for August, right? August is the month that we typically start to see that slowdown. And I think you're right. It is slow and steady. We didn't slow down. We just kind of stayed even and picked up just a little bit. Okay. So to give you an idea, right, 740 active and coming soon. So this top bracket up there, I don't know if I can lose my little guy over here. I don't know how to lose that. Well, at any rate, this top section up there, that is the generic all across the state, right? When you log into ARMLS, it is covering whatever and wherever people put their listings in. Could be Flagstaff, could be Tucson, could be Payson, right? Could be Lake Havasu. Because people are thinking, hey, we're really selling to people in the valley, they're going to want to know about our listing. They put it into our ARMLS. So those top three numbers are not what is happening really in the majority of what we're dealing with, right? So yeah, great, 12,000 listings, but let's look at it when you drop to Maricopa County. right? That's a big difference, right? So yes, we did go up, not a huge increase, but we had a greater increase than across the rest of the state. If you look at those top listings. Now, of course, we're not getting all listings right across the state, but we're just getting the ones that they put into ARMLS. So if you're ever trying to zoom that in, I did save a search because I use this every month, right, for you guys. But I had it before that I had saved it to just Maricopa County to see what's really happening. And then, of course, we'll go down to the 10-mile radius. But so these numbers here that we get, those are the numbers that I'm taking for that top bracket, is what we're getting sent each month. How many are opening up your market stats that you get on our newsletter? Okay. I don't know that I shared it on here, but how many of you clicked on that very top market stat that you're being given that's editable, that is not this little graphic, it's actually pages of information in terms of comparing year over year data. So if you're a numbers geek, please open that up. It's great data to look at, okay? If you just want the nitty gritty to just tell a client, this is probably going to be more specific. 10 miles from this office is actually still a pretty big area. 10 miles away, that's a lot of coverage. That's not just Paradise Valley, right? That's going all the way north of the 101 if you're going 10 miles north, right? So gives you some good ideas. I thought it was interesting that this actually is down just a tad on the UCB and pending. Coming soon, again, slow and steady, right? We had 136, or we had 136 or 130 last month, and we have 136 this month, coming soon at this time, right? Because I'm doing the report every month at about the same time. So it gives you an idea. All right, let's go into some detail because you guys like to see this. This should be, if we go out this way, this should finally be cleared of any of that other data. This is now Maricopa County only, right? Before we were dealing with Mandy's numbers that had earlier than that. So you're going to see kind of, well, it's actually not much of a jump, but we were seeing a little more of a jump earlier. So this is the last 3 months, about a 2-month absorption rate. So a jump from last month, just a little bit. And really, this is the biggest, well, no, 499.9, 500, 600, those are matching, right? The only thing that's really changed is just a tad longer on the market. And we're all seeing that, right? Unless it is picture perfect, in excellent condition, in the right location, and priced right, right? Those are still selling with multiple offers, right? Those are going quickly. All right. So this, I just have been cutting and pasting them just to kind of see where the transitions have been. And this will be a little easier to read when we clear out those other ones from before. So this is the 10-mile radius. So, and I'm just giving you the last little part of this slide. I'm not quite sure why this came up with 0 days on market. Oh, I didn't go back and redo this. I'm sorry. I had an error in there. I did not do my active, so I needed to redo that. I'll get that updated for next month. But my guess is it's going to be pretty close to that 2 months still, like the other one showed. And this price just inched up. That's all. Okay. How many of you notice that we have a few faces that are usually here that aren't? How many of you know, how many of you are in WeServe? Let's start with that. Who's in WeServe? Okay. How many of you saw that this week, instead of just doing the expo, which is a one-day event, they created a fall leadership conference of 4 days? Sorry about this, folks, since I totally missed it. That's why I did not realize our office meeting was competing with it. At this exact time, our commissioner of real estate is actually speaking with a CE class for free, which you could be at. So thank you for choosing me instead. I'm guessing you didn't know your choice, but that's okay. So, but they actually had some really, really great things that were free. They're doing 1 hour CE classes. As many of you may know, our new commissioner did change the way that we're able to attend classes. And so now 1 hour meetings can be used for CE credit. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. You're going to see opportunities many more opportunities to get your CE credits in little bits, okay? You still have to make sure you get enough of each of the categories, but you can get them in little bits. If you want to go tomorrow, they're talking about residential, commercial, and agricultural development. Very fascinating what's going on in the valley. Of course, we know water is a big issue, so this is going to be really interesting. Several different panels. Then they've got happy hours in the evening. And then if you've never been to this expo, I highly recommend it. So it's an opportunity to meet home inspectors, of course, your lenders, title companies, but you've got a lot of opportunity to talk about with different people that service our industry that are all there trying to get your business, right? So that will be going on at the Renaissance Hotel in Glendale. And again, that's free. Come on, and we actually have 3 seats up front if anybody is game enough to come on down. All right. How many of you have been at the Industry Partners Conference in the past? All right. Anybody want to tell everybody else how cool the Industry Partners Conference is? Anybody? No?
Well, it's been a while since I went, but it really was.
Well,
amazing.
in person, right? It has been a while.
Yeah.
So the Industry Partners Conference is lenders, title, and realtors. And what they do is the room gets split up and you go to different tables with representatives of each industry, and they give you mock scenarios that you as a group talk about on how would you handle this? What happens in this scenario? Who is right? Who is wrong? Where does the money go, right? So it's really, really a wonderful opportunity to hear different sets of opinions and learn a lot of new information. Because of course, some of our laws have changed and way files are handled has changed. So to get to know what other people are doing in their part of the industry and how it makes a difference is really important. And just so everybody knows, this is on our Facebook group. It is also it will be on our YouTube channel. It is on our Zoom. So and a lot of these were on my email that I sent out earlier this week. So, and they would have had a link to register. The Industry Partners does cost $99 as of, may have been yesterday with the deadline. So it might be a little more. It does normally sell out. I think it's going to be difficult with WeServe having 4 days of classes this week. And then the Industry Partners a full day long. It's 9 to 4. It's a really amazing thing. How many luxury realtors do we have here? I know we have a lot of them in this office. How many of you have your designation? How many of you have the designation with Realty One Group, One Lux? Okay, so many of you did that. If you do not have your Institute of Luxury Home Marketing designation, actually there are 2 different groups that present these classes. This is the group presenting this particular one. This class is about, is it 250? Does anybody remember the price? We have
was $495.
Yeah, it's not an inexpensive. It is for luxury, right? So it's not an inexpensive class. We do have a $50 off discount if you go to my newsletter. There's a link to click on to save $50 if you'd like to do that. It is a 2-day class, and again, you do get CE credits for a lot of that. I'm not sure all of it. Okay, I saw the buzz out there asking, what date was the holiday party? So here's the date, save the date. The reason I do not have registration out there is Realty One Group is coming up with a new system in State Levite that we're waiting on. So I'm like, okay, as soon as I have it, I'll give it to you. The reason is they're trying to combine a way to do donations that are able to go directly to our One Cares. So we'll wait for them to do that. That's fine. But please hold the date, and we look forward to celebrating the end of this year with all of you. How many of you are joining us in Las Vegas in February? Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. Okay. So you saw the discounted tickets. See, there's somebody that saw the discounted tickets. I don't know if you're reading my newsletter, folks. The ticket is $555. That is half price. We do not have any tickets to give away for those of you waiting for me to give away raffles. We're not getting any. Okay, and the reason is with 18,000 agents around the world, there is a lot of attention on this conference this year. A lot of people coming from all over the place. I will tell you, Arizona has already hit the mark of 50 agents. That discount is assured. That is not an issue. Go in and register. We have about 5 agents that have already registered from this office. We sure hope that we have at least 15 to 20 from this office like we have in the past. It is a blast. I have gone since they opened it up outside of Nevada, and we started going, 6 years ago. So I love doing it. It's a lot of fun. You never know who is going to come out on that stage, but let me tell you, they are not, your average speaker. So Shaquille O'Neal did a sit-down conversation at one of the things last year. Simon Sinek, is that the? He was incredible. We had top athletes, military personnel that went and killed Osama bin Laden. And there were all sorts of, they pull from all different areas. These are not realtors coming and talking about how they do their business. These are incredibly amazing motivational speakers that will tell their journey. And there are things each of us can take from somebody that is running their lives, whatever that may be, right? We run our own businesses. So people that are doing, it doesn't matter what they're doing. If they are an athlete, they're at the top of their game. If we want to be at the top of our game, there's always something we can gather from those individuals. And that's what they do here. There is somebody that curates these speakers. And again, they are not just your average, everyday Joe. These are amazing presenters, and you will not know who they are. They do not announce until they walk out on that stage. And the hard part about that is, I just wanted to take a minute. It's like, oh, but I don't. Who's on stage, right? So you never want to miss because you don't know who's coming out on that stage. Now, there are breakout rooms that sometimes have small specific things for our industry, for new technology we might have out. But for the most part, these are motivational speakers that you could not pay to get in to see somewhere. So that ticket price is really nothing for what you're getting in these presentations. So I hope some of you will go on. The link is in the newsletter, so you can come join us. How many of you have checked out our YouTube channel? We have our own new YouTube channel. But the best part is, it's not just me speaking. I stole all of Mandy's videos from the last year. I was hoping Mandy would be here by now to tell her that, because I don't think she knows that we do that.
Sitting outside, there's a white limo out there. Is this how they travel now?
That's a good idea, yeah. No, but please go in and subscribe. I think if we get to 100 subscriptions, then it will be easier to find us. But if you type Realty One Group Paradise Valley, it will be there. There are seats up here. We still have 2 seats. Do you want to come down here? Come on down. Don't want to, it's okay. All right. Yep. And she's not here yet. So I'm going really quickly. So this is kind of cool. I'm going to go to what else is going on in September. Actually, I'm going to pause here for just a second with a technical issue here. How many of you like to get paid? How many of you do referrals? How many of you do your CDIs, or do you have a TC do CDIs? Okay, so your CDIs, where do you put your CDIs to get them signed? Sky Slope. Do you send them to me?
No.
Why? Does anybody know why?
Yeah. So when we send them, once you confirm that how you're being paid is how you should be paid as far as your license, if there's PLC or middle initial, they have to confirm that your name is on there.
Yes. So did everybody hear that? On your CDIs, you have to have your name as it is written on your license.
Well, I'm
Okay.
the one that knows that. She's been harassing me forever because I forget to put my middle name is Louise. She loves to be copied.
And you're not the only one, okay? So my middle name has to be on there. We have somebody, if you're here, I'm sorry. somebody has 6 names that's on their license, why they would have done that. But every time they do their CDI, they have to put all 6 names across that, right? So, but even more than that, sometimes you have something that you owe the company that hasn't been paid. And guess what? When I sign those CDIs, I don't have a chance to go look and open all those folders. So the office administrators do that. Now, those of you that said you do referrals, guess what you can do with referrals?
Put it on, you don't know.
Send them to me, all right? So if you are setting up a CDI, you have to sign it, right? You're probably doing DigiSign or AuthentiSign, whatever you're using. Set it up for me to sign, set it up for you to sign, set it up if you can for the other agent to sign. If they're nice, they'll give you the other broker's email. Set it up for all 4 people to sign all at once.
Oh, you mean on the
referral
referral
agreement,
agreement,
not
not
the
referral
CDI.
agreement.
I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Referral
Yeah,
agreement.
the
Yeah.
referral agreement. Okay,
Sorry.
right.
Referral agreement,
Not the
yes.
CDI.
Not the CDI. So CDI has to go in SkySlope, but the referral agreement, you can set that sequence of all 4, if you can get the other broker's information, and send it out that way. It's so much easier to do. And I'm more than happy to click through that and get that done for you, okay? The one thing I will suggest you look at on your referral agreement, I'm sorry I didn't put it up here, is on your referral agreement, on the very bottom, if you are using AAR's form, there is a time frame of that referral, and there is, are you doing 1 deal or are you doing multiple deals in that referral? So please take a look at that. That's up to you and what you've talked to the other agent, whether you're giving it or taking it, however that works. Please discuss that and check those boxes. That's up to you. I'm not going to kick it out for that. I'm just going to sign. That is your agreement to negotiate, okay? And it stands. I mean, sometimes we got referral agreements that are 2 years. So, and you need to hold on to that agreement. I click trash can. As soon as I've signed it, it goes away. I do not save those. There is no place to put them in SkySlope until you have an address. So 9 times out of 10, there are buyers being involved. You don't have an address until they actually buy a home, okay? So you can't put it into SkySlope until that time. So just remember that, but I will gladly sign your referral agreements as soon as you have them. And we've got a lot of them this month, so it's a lot of fun. Okay. So rev ups. How many of you have taken a rev up class? You guys have been here a long time. If any of you that have been here a while taken one of these rev up classes? No? Well,
In the past.
in the past,
been a
okay, that's
while.
fine. In the past, you've
Yeah.
taken them?
Yeah.
I know I've got people in the back that have taken them. Sarah's taken one. Who else has taken one recently? Okay, you guys have access to all of our brokers. We've got 9 offices. We have 8 we have 8 offices and 9 brokers. 8 of us teach these classes. There are 12 classes. You do not have to take them in sequence. This month, we have 2, 4, 6 still set to hit this month out of those 12 classes. Obviously, we had 2 last Friday. And they are at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. They last anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half, depending on who's in the class and how many questions there are. They are actually taught live with a broker on Zoom, so you can actually ask questions, okay? So yes, we have a template for what we're talking about, but sometimes I had 2 people the last time. I had a great time going down some other things that the agents had questions, and they were experienced agents, by the way. So the questions they had on farming and branding were not your typical questions. So we had fun delving into other things that they just didn't know. So it was kind of fun. So we got all of those going on. Is Craig Sanford here?
No. We're up in Portland.
They're up in Portland right now. Okay. I believe that the 18th, he is in town for 5 minutes. And because of that, we're going to have him at our Monday Mastermind. If not, I will go ahead and do the buyer broker. And if he doesn't take the whole time, I will do the buyer broker. For those that don't know, Craig is an agent in our office. He has been, oh my gosh, so many different roles. I don't even know. He's got a long resume, but at any rate, he is technically the treasurer to be. I don't think you can call him elect yet, but he's running unopposed. So it's not like anybody else can step in because you have to meet qualifications by a deadline that's passed. So nobody is up against him. He will be the next treasurer for NAR. He ran last time around, and unfortunately for him, the other person did get the role. It's a 2-year position. So he has been literally crisscrossing the country, as he would if he were trying to get elected. But because he's not having to have that conversation, he's having amazing conversations with realtors all around the country, talking about what is the direction we want to see NAR go. Okay. For most that don't know about budget, he'll talk about that. The budget is pretty well set for NAR right now for the next year. So he's trying to look at where will it be in the next 2-3 years. Okay. So it will be really fascinating for that. I hope you can join us. We will record it. We will put it on Facebook as well as our Zoom. Now, the 25th, I am probably going to go back and do another slot for our foundation rebuild, just trying to help agents get back into the swing of things. The reason I am pushing off the listing and purchase contracts is we talked about that 1-hour class, right? How many of you would like to do those Monday masterminds as a 1-hour CE class? Okay, so it's just going to take me a little bit of time to make sure that I can get that content approved so that I can teach that as a CE class. And then I will delve into the listing contract over several Mondays. It will be stretched out to probably 3 or 4 Mondays. So watch for that, but they will be 1-hour classes that you'll be able to get credit for. So I kind of like that. Take care of some of those CE classes. Anytime we can, it's kind of fun. Yes.
So maybe not connected to what we are talking right now, but is there something which can be brought up or discussed? How, and I know topics have been discussed about AI, how the industry is changing with AI and ChatGPT going forward. And I was at that summit yesterday at the VServe, and from that, the take was that so many jobs which are right now in 2 years, hands down, they won't be.
Sure.
So the topic brought was, where does real estate industry and we in business look for, and how we need to change. So it's something I wanted to bring this up.
I can look to see if anybody is having that conversation. I'm sure Title will also be looking into that and see with Justin and his reach into the education, what's available out there. There is a lot out there on ChatGPT and AI of how things are being modified, of course. And yeah, I do think that our careers and this industry will change. We all know that some of it has changed already. And we know from 2020, right? Prior to 2020, if I told people we were doing something on Zoom, they'll be like, yeah, no, not doing it, right? And today, it's absolutely a normal part of our day, right? For me to say that I'm on a Zoom meeting, people are like, oh, okay, got it. Yeah, understood, right? I mean, it is a part of our lives. Like if we had talked to people in 2019, they would have said, yeah, I'm not going to sit and watch something on my computer with some person chatting over there.
Yesterday, they were showing, literally, I feel in coming 1 or 2 years, the staging businesses for properties may not exist the way it was showing, that how AI has already taken some of those softwares and apps
Sure.
they showed. Similarly, even the marketing departments and so many, we were like, oh my God, what the next generation to study and come ahead. So
How many of you have used ChatGPT to modify your listing description?
not yet, but I will.
Wow. I understand, write your description. I agree with you. But if you've never played with it, I highly recommend you play with it. Now, I will caution you, please do not do that in your contracts. The contract is not a place to modify words and sentences and periods and commas, etc. But if you are not looking at it in terms of if you are having to give a CMA summary and you want some additional wording, it does not hurt to run it through it just read what it says. Do not just copy and paste it someplace, or you may be surprised that that came out of your mouth, so to speak. Yes.
Has there been any kind of class on that through?
Oh, there's been tons of classes. Yeah, the title companies offer tons of classes. And our lender is offering stuff on social. We'll get to, is Barb here? Oh, there you are. I was like, where are you? I saw you earlier. So Barb can talk to that later because she's got new classes. But yes, Rock Title has had multiple classes back to back to back on AI and Chat GPT. So you have to look for both words depending on what how they have it titled.
And what they were talking yesterday was, we need to start learning and getting ahead of the game, because so many parts of the businesses in general are being eliminated every day as we're talking. So if we don't keep ahead of the curve,
Right.
we don't know where we stand.
Right.
So not to be threatened, but at the same time, we need to change. Right. And how we don't know.
Well, that might be a question for somebody that just walked into the room. She gonna be quiet over there, or what?
So happy to be, is it my turn?
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw the white lips that you drove in.
I saw that. I was like, what are we up to? I mean, I know I have a boss, but I can get some acceptance, maybe. Wow, thank you all for coming. I miss you all tremendously. I will tell you, it's an absolute honor to work for the Department of Real Estate, knowing that, and I'm sorry, and yes, I would love lunch. This is 3 months, I've been insane. It's been an absolute honor knowing that what I'm doing is to make all of you have an actual livelihood in real estate forever, because we get the worst of the worst in the department. And the first thing they threw me in was audits and investigations. And I have not been able to pull myself out of it, because I am finding, what's up, Jason? I want to say hi to everybody, by the way, like I'm having a really hard time not going around touching everybody. They don't like that as an employee. Like there's something about sexual harassment policy. I'm like, I'm used to independent contractors. I don't know my hug to make sure to hug me, please. But I've been thrown into the mix. I mean, we've had a human smuggler, we've had a pill pilfer, we call him, that's gone around and stolen medications. I've seen people now be shut down because we find that they've stolen over $400,000 in trust account monies. We have consistent, worst of the worst, licensees that are wholesalers that think that they're better than thou, you know, non-consensual lien issues that you deal with on a daily, and I'll go into some of these for you. And all I can say is thank you for being you, because you have not hit my desk at all. So I guess you want to know what the department will be forecasting in the next legislative session and what we're involved with. Am I being recorded?
You are being recorded.
Okay, so I will watch what I say, because the one thing that's completely different than anything I've ever experienced in my 21 years is now I am political. And everything I say reflects on my director, which is the Commissioner Nicholson, who you all know very well because she's a trainee here. So let's start with deed fraud. We are working with 6 different departments currently on legislation to do a better job in Arizona, not to be a playground. I just left a meeting that the gentleman asked me, well, why would the state even allow it? You know, why does the state allow people to change addresses without IDs? Great question. The one thing I'm learning is that everything is really great in theory, but it all leads back to IT abilities and money. And what did we do in the last governor session? We reduced sales income tax, which felt good for us on this slide, from 8% to 2.6%. What does that do for your regulators? It cuts everything. So in some terms, we always think, oh, this is great. And I'm not telling you how to vote, right? And I'm not telling you what to do, but I asked, and I pushed back to him, well, why did the voters of Arizona allow for it to happen? Because we don't have the money to just change the way things are done, to ask for additional identification. It sounds easy, right? It says, hey, the federal government asks you like 50 questions about yourself before they let you do anything. And the state of Arizona, you can log right into the county assessor website and steal my identity right now and change my tax mailing address. You go in the corporate commission and you can file an LLC in my name. And then you can go find the property, sell it, and still cash the check as Mandy needs. Because the government allows it, right? But they don't. It's fraudsters being fraudsters, and the government's reaction is, yeah, we would love shift, we would love change. And so the other departments, meaning the recorder's office, the assessor, the corporate commission, the secretary of state, they're all working on great aspects that they're able to do, but yeah, they'll need more money. They'll need more money to come up with the securities because nothing's free. Because every department has their own budget and every department has to pay for another department to help them when it comes to state. So we need a little bit more so we can make deed fraud go away. But what can you do as a practitioner? What did we put out there as the department to say, hey, these are some areas we see front lines can do better? Because have any of you read the black book that I live in? Okay, there might be one. Scott did not come. But the black book I live in is Title 32, Chapter 20. And it's on azre.gov. And no, I never pulled it as a broker for you to read into because we stayed out of trouble. But I did teach out of it. I taught commissioner rules. I taught you R4 281101. Remember professional conduct, my favorite thing since sliced bread? I taught you 1102. Always go through the other agents when negotiating and presenting contracts. I live by 1103, which is broker supervision. But the statutes, those are all rule set. The statutes are very specific in what you have to do as a practitioner and what you don't have to do as a practitioner. And there's nothing in there that asks a listing agent to check ID at the time of a listing presentation. Have you been to the city dump? They check like 2 forms of ID. And I know you all have because we've all gotten rid of stuff. The things we do that we'll never claim, right? Right, they check 2 forms of ID to dump garbage in a hole. That no one's like, oh, you don't check any ID to sell the biggest asset somebody owns. Right? Don't you think we could do better? Right, I'm not telling you have to know if it's fraudulent or not, but I'm gonna tell you, take your eyes, go to the date of birth, and then go to the deed and say, so this person's owned it for 60 years, but this person's 25. And what tax portal do you have that you can look at that instantly? Thank you. You know what I don't have? Monsoon. Oh my God, my life is in this. Right, so there's one thing. The other thing is within the transaction itself, what are you supposed to give to the buyer side as a listing agent? Disclosures, and specifically one from the insurance company, right? The claims loss history report. What is time and time again do agents just let slide by? Oh, figure it out. But we're not going to let it slide by. You know why? Because the only thing that's not public record that a fraudster will not know is who they're insured by. So they give you a really good look in Liberty Mutual because Canva's real, ChatGPT's real. They're all real. They can make you beautiful fraudulent documents in this world, right? But then the licensee who has an employment agreement, so usually on the listing side, even though I know you all believe in buyer brokers, and for that I thank you. And don't tell me if you don't. Okay, we're gonna keep moving forward. We'll call Liberty Mutual by going to Google, looking up an actual Liberty Mutual number and say, hey, I just need to confirm that 123 Main Street is actually insured by you.
Will they give you that information?
If the law passes, if it's able to pass through. These are things that we're putting out there to try to get insurance companies. So are we working with other agencies? Absolutely. We have, for the first time in many, many moons, because the departments used to be siloed, we have interagency arrangements to work with other agencies, not meaning we enforce their law, meaning for the first time, we stopped closing things and saying not our jurisdiction, we pass them. We bundle it and pass them, which is fantastic because that means we can actually make effective change. And DIFI, the Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions, which I did not know about or how to say. It took me this whole 3 months to even be able to like say the real words with the, because I used to just make things up. I was like, "Oh." They're like, what does DIFI stand for? I'm like, what would you like it to stand for today? They oversee title and they oversee escrow and they oversee lending and they oversee many, many things actually. But those are the three that you deal with. And so anything we find that's not in line with their statutes, we'll be passing to them instead of closing out and just saying you have to refile. Right? Because we want to make bad actors go away. And so it's really nice on the deed fraud front, though, to say, don't you think realtors, it's about time you stand up and hold yourself accountable for being professionals and just ask a few more questions? I get all the time, why does the escrow ask work? You know, honestly, escrow stays up until midnight doing files and paperwork to make your deals close.
Yeah.
Escrow sometimes never meets the human. Who meets the human? We do. Wouldn't it also be great to make the fraudster get on Zoom or some kind of face program to say, great, to take your listing, the one thing I have to do for state law is for you to get on camera. And then you're like shut down right there, like, yeah, I'm not getting on camera. You're like, I'm not taking your listing. And I know that's really easy to say from someone who's getting a paycheck right now, but again, I'm a state employee. But at the end of the day, do you want to be a victim of deed fraud? Because aren't you a victim when you go through all the action and then there's no payout? And aren't you a victim, even if there is a payout, knowing that in this day and age, titles go in, the title insurance company who's going to be hit if they find this fraudulent, hey, we want that compensation back. And right now, as the law reads, licensees don't have any regulation to say you have to do anything upfront to help with it. But let me ask you a question. If you're driving down the road and you stop at a coffee shop and you run into one of your old dear friends, and they say, you know, I'm just at hard times. I don't have a ride. I was going to Uber. Would you mind if you have time to just run me up to the bank? And come on, realtors. I know what we do. We're givers. We're like, yeah. And so we take them to the bank and we're on our Facebook as we wait in the car. And we're like, what's happening? And around me, but I don't notice it because I'm just waiting for my friend. Or is that just what I do? And they jump back in the car and they're like, awesome, thank you so much. And they're like, by the way, here's your gas money. And they hand you a $20 bill. Turns out they robbed the bank. Are you an accomplice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you are. So what's the difference in deed fraud? So be an ally with us or be an accomplice, because at the end of the day, it only gives you more value prop to show the consumers that you serve. I am protecting this state. I am proud to be a licensee. I am proud to do listings. And these are a few standards of practice I follow on all of my listings, because not all are the right ones for me to take, because we have to make sure we match. But more than that, I want to protect the people of Arizona. In doing so, I do need to ask for identification. The only person it feels weird to is you. That's it. Because they're like, yeah, I went to the city dump and they asked for ID. I went to turn on APS and they asked for ID. Like everybody else does it. Yeah, so we're looking at things of that nature. Also, we just turned in, or you're not telling me my time, Melissa, because you know me. And I'm so excited to see you all. We just did what's called an omnibus bill, and it's taken me the entire time to pronounce that correctly. That means a statute update. We haven't had our statutes updated since the 90s, and it still asks for a videotape recording to be sent to the commissioner. The SAT like cracking up. If there's any out-of-state class held, and I was like, and Susan says, oh, they can send it to me. I just can't watch it. Unless they want to send the VCR or give me money to go to Brass Armadillo and I will buy one.
She's pulling up.
Yeah, I have to find fun every day because I'm not allowed to touch other humans. The little things are shifting. We're also trying to change all the keys because according to the law, it does not apply to she's. So good luck. Keys, you're in trouble. She's, you are free. Okay, we'll see if that flies or not. We are doing some major updates in property management, which I'm so thankful I don't have to talk to you about. I thought I sold my property management company a long time ago. Many, many moons I sold my properties to a different property manager. I was like, I'm free. And then guess what? I'm back. But I am cleaning those up for them. One big change, if the VA protection bill goes through, that's going to be pushed from the Department of Veteran Services that we are part of, that will affect you. Is we will find it as incompetence. If you speak to one of your sellers improperly and give misinformation that leads them not to accept a VA offer. Veterans are the most discriminated class in the state of Arizona, especially veterans with disabilities. These folks, and you all know I'm a proud wife, 21 years with him. I keep reminding him, more than half my life, you owe me. I'm so sorry. Proud wife of a serviceman and proud person to say that I've understood VA loans for a very long time. And I've been around for a lot of the shifts of them. It was 20 years ago where it did cost the seller something. 20 years ago, though, within 5 years of me starting my career, most of it left. But there today in this day and age, professionals will sit across the table and try to get a seller to take a conventional loan over a VA loan. And that's not okay. And it's not only because that person, that service member signed a blank check, including their life for you. It's not okay because usually the person doing it doesn't even understand and does not know the stats. We went down to the VA department last week. We sat down with the people in Phoenix that help the back end of all those loans. They are the smallest amount in comparison to FHA and conventional loan denials because of all the work a VA loan requires up front. That the certificate of eligibility, I have an issue of calling it the COA, but the certificate of eligibility is no longer red tape. For the past 5 years, it is immediate access the same day for 80% of the service members that qualify for a VA loan. The other 20%, they are a 2 to 5 day wait period tops. You can still close in 30 days. The only thing I see, and they're trying to make shifts, is the aging housing stock and the peeling paint issues, right? Don't lick the sidewall. Well, come on, guys, we know how to overcome that.
Yeah.
And then the other issue people bring up is, well, a veteran can't pay for their own termite. And if it's found, yeah, they can. That's a lender overlay. Turns out they can pay for everything. And did you know if that veteran has a certain level of disability, there's no funding fee? Also, the thing we're working on DIFI in the Veterans Protection Bill is for lenders to be required, if a lender offers veteran loans, if they are VA eligible, that they have to quote the VA loan as well as all their other options. They cannot leave it out. A lot leave it off the table because it doesn't pay out in some lending institutions as much as giving someone a conventional loan. So we're saying these are the requirements and we're working together. Outside of that, we have deed fraud. You've probably heard a lot about us speaking on joint ventures. Joint ventures is what you have with,
I was gonna say about the VA, lenders can pull the certificate of eligibility as well, if they have all the information for the veterans, they don't have to do it.
yeah, and it's immediate, isn't it?
That's within. But this year.
Barb's always great. Sorry, Barb. I mean, I was like, what's up? Joint ventures are what you guys have with Rock Title. An affiliated business agreement or a joint venture with Epic Lending. ABAs are the other side of your sheet of affiliated business arrangement. You're probably hearing a lot of rumors out there that the commissioner is going around enforcing the laws from Title 20 or Title 6, which goes over escrow and title. And that we're shutting down saying all joint ventures are illegal. This is not true. If you hear these rumors, this is not true. This is also not our chapter and title. That's Department of Insurance and Financial Investigation. What we're looking for with these situations is informed consent to the consumer. One thing I proudly can stand behind is that in every single one of your files, there is a form that is a disclosure that is given to all of your clients, correct?
Yeah.
And sign, even if they don't use those companies, correct? And this should be done honestly with the agency disclosure and election. I'm just going to tell you, because consent is prior to, not with and not after, prior to. And the idea of that disclosure per RESPA is for that consumer to be able to shop. It's to be more transparent. Let's face it, 1 in 20 clients actually understand what you say when you say escrow. My mom's a nurse and she says, what do you want to grow? And I said, "Grow." Give me money and the account will grow. And I love her and she will keep you alive, but she has no concept of what I do. Oh, what are you doing?
Well, it was the back of you before, so I thought I'd be nice and actually have the front of you instead of your gold jacket.
So what we are looking at is in 1101, section B is disclosures. When was it disclosed and was it disclosed because it is a material item of the contract, period. The next thing is in 1101A, treating all parties fairly, which means disclosures must be given to who? All parties. I don't care if the other side signs it as the deputy commissioner. I don't care. I care that you delivered it. Because that is giving them the information. That is disclosure. Delivery equals disclosure. So do me a favor, and with your offers, when you write in ROC title, when the lender is Ethic Lending, even if it's not, go ahead and send a copy of the ABA to the other side. What's it gonna hurt? Because that is a material fact. And then we're in line, because you've done what? You've disclosed. You've treated everybody fairly. Now, if the other agent chooses to do nothing with it, well, imputed knowledge is your client knows everything you know, right? We all know imputed knowledge. We live by it. It's called Realty One Group, 3,000 agents know the same stuff. Right. So if they don't give it to their client, that's on them now. That's not on you anymore. So make sure that you're fully delivering. Outside of that, we're doing some really awesome things when it comes to education. 50-minute CE classes. I'm going to help Melissa get some of those in line. So maybe your office meetings will give you CE credit, so you could get down to 1 hour each. How many of you feel like pre-licensing actually taught you how to do real estate?
No.
Did you know what my next tackle is? Pre-licensing, to the point where we're rewriting the test questions for Arizona. We're re-looking at it and we're going to measure, because right now it's 0 out of thousands of licensees that goes test for a license, but had no practicality to what I actually do.
Yep.
I don't want to train on, not recruiting or retention. That was my world. Leads and nurturing leads. I want to train on what should you know as a practitioner when you go in the field to set yourself up for success. Should you know about water? And at what limit, like how much should you know on that water disclosure? Should you really dig deep into loyalty? Should you do more case study than just definition? Because right now, would you agree it's just memorize the test?
Yes.
But what if you had to apply it
On the square
to
foot
win?
of an acre.
Yeah. I would keep that one in, just so you know. I expect you to hire a surveyor. So. And how many is that? 45, 60. That's the only thing we all have in common. So it would be really nice for people to leave with the setup of, I understand what it takes to make a bona fide contract. I understand what it means to have loyalty to a client, not just memorizing a word and hoping we all define it the same. I actually can look at case study and be tested on a scenario with an answer instead of just a really messed up question that you swear they're just trying to get you to bail, right? Like, we want passing levels to go up, but more than anything, we want competency of what you're doing to go up. Also, property managers, hopefully, if it passes, will be required to do 6 additional hours in regards to property management special agency. And we will hopefully be adding more specialty CE hours out there. So that way, if you're like, no, I want to do this, you could go search it and do that. Outside of that, we're changing it to an Arello-based test, hopefully. What that means is we're one of the only states in the country that does not have an Arello pre-licensing test, which is why you have no reciprocity with other states. So we're going to work on that and hopefully go Arello and start negotiating reciprocity for our licensees to be able to go to other states and just take their state exam rather than having to start from scratch.
What's the
Arello is something real estate legal trainers, but it's a group that does all the testing.
So basically, we take just the state test If we want to practice in a different state.
One day, yes,
One day.
that is the goal. So, the state moves a lot slower than me.
Sure.
I feel like I have so much done in 3 months.
How many meetings do you sit through that have no purpose?
Oh,
I said, how many meetings do you sit through that have no purpose?
they all have a purpose right now, but they all have a purpose and I love my job. And, less than I used to. Because every meeting I sit through is actually lately getting to know another department or statute requirements or collaboration. One day it'll be a lot. But the concept is to be able for you guys to have to start from scratch. So we're doing a lot of great things. If you have things you want to see changed, we are turning in our omnibus bill next week, but we're going to start rule review for our 5-year rule review in January. And so if there's any rules you feel as though, you know, are really ambiguous or out there, please get back to us. But again, you only have a few in residential real estate. And it's really 1101, 1102, and 1103. Really big fat book that you have that much information. Also, the only things that we oversee that we're allowed to discipline based upon is 322153. So if you write down ARS 322153, biggest complaints I'm getting, biggest violations I'm issuing, dishonest dealings, incompetence, negligence, and misrepresentation. And our commissioner, because I'm not allowed, but our commissioner has empowered the department to look at things a little different. So the rules might say what they are, but we are holding people to a way larger scale. And I'm not asking for paperwork just on your transaction. I'm asking for communication logs. I'm asking for client instructions, and I'm making agents prove that they did not individually come up with the negotiations, that the consumer they represented made the decision. So keep doing what you've always done. Make your conversations, put it in writing, because they will be asked for if you're ever across my desk, but I have faith that you won't be. So that's any questions. How are you guys doing?
Do you have any info on the new showing platform that Air MLS is rolling out, and is showing time going away?
Oh, so ARMLS is owned by the 3 associations in the Maricopa County area. And I have been paying attention, but I don't have a huge saying. I used to know. But showing time will eventually be fizzling out. And they are working with other MLSs that actually own the data within the showing, which means in essence, you're all members of the association. So you all kind of own ARMLS. You just don't have any income from it. Your locals do, but you personally don't. So as a shareholder, if you have any want to speak up through your local association and go directly to Matt Consalvo over at ARMLS. But showing time, the data is owned by Zillow, right?
Yep, Zillow.
Yeah.
They just sent an email out. I think it's the 19th that the new one is rolling out.
Awesome. That's Curview, right?
No,
No,
it's,
that's
uh,
Cureview's Monsoon's replacement.
It's owned by Air MLS.
Yeah.
The new one.
Yeah, that's the cool part. So you kind of own it and you'll own the data instead of somebody else.
Well, and Showing Time just sent an update out. So there's a new Showing Time if you haven't launched that new version of that. So
Yeah, and please adapt to this way faster than you adapted to, transaction desk. Like, don't wait 3 years and be like, I guess, like, just go for it. Just do it. I mean, it's not gonna hurt nothing. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. What's up, Deborah?
Does your office ever see a time where we will have to do limited representation within the same brokerage, but different agents?
The question is, do we think that we'll be removing limited representation in the sense of agency for Arizona? No, actually, I'm going to be holding it to a higher standard if you want to know the truth. And consent for limited representation is, you better not have prepped anything to quiz me because my brain's gone now, 2153A2. And it says consent, which means if it goes with your offer for your buyer to sign with the offer, that's not consent. That's acknowledgement. I want to see it separated. It should be prior to you making the offer, the buyer signs off on the consent because they need to understand their representation. Please note, If you set yourself up properly in this business, representation does not equal compensation. Let's just get that out of the way right now. They have the right to choose who they want to represent them. They also could have a contractual obligation to still compensate you. You need to really look at how you're setting yourself up there. And we could go into that you can invite me back for a breakout. If you are a seller and you're receiving that offer, the listing agent should be presenting the consent form prior to even discussing the offer terms. And tell me how you're gonna prove you did it. So make sure if you're e-signing things, separate them. Put them in 2 different categories. Show that the email you sent out was in regards to the consent. The second email was the offer. People bundling all this stuff together, all the consumers seeing, how do I sell my house? How do I buy a house? I want that house. But representation matters. Now, let me tell you, I understand more than you think. Well, you know what I understand. Thank you finally for being an office that does. I've been all over this state. They look at me cross-eyed. They're like, that chick's crazy. And I'm like, perfect. And I'm like, it's hard. That's a hard. I had a friend the other day, like, I'd love to tell you that, Mandy, but you're the government. And I was like, no, I'm Mandy. And I sat there and I was like, oh. Oh, I can't unknow what I know, right? But you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, is that going to change it? No, maybe not. Most likely, no. Most likely a consumer is still going to just trust you and sign through things, even though you've told them 50 times to read it, 50 times to ask questions. No matter, they said, you want to buy and sell, and I trust your face. I've heard that my whole life. I just trust your face. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but thank you. Not that I'd do anything that would make me not sleep at night. But the concept is that the consumer has had the ability to understand what it means to move forward with your representation.
I understand that. There's a section in the contract
Mhm.
and there's a section in the agency agreement that talks about limited representation.
Mhm.
I go over that in depth with my
That's
clients
because you're amazing.
before we even see the consent to limited representation form, because we don't know if we're going to be there yet.
Mhm.
So when that occurs, if I get an offer from a Realty One Group agent, then I'm talking to my client, oh, remember this conversation? Remember we went depth on this
Mhm.
paragraph? Remember this,
Yeah.
So, there are conversations that happen beforehand. So,
Everything I do is in paper, and then that, the agency disclosure and election is permission to show them that you may enter it, you might enter into the, page.
however, they're checking the box that says seller, and then you're allowed, they're checking a box that says you're allowed.
Who's
to-
checking the box?
The
Who's checking the-
client is agreeing to sign an area that they've read, and you've explained that the box is checked.
So, let me just say,
Who caught that, right? Who is checking the box because of our technology?
Who is, explaining, well, I'm explaining everything. It takes a hell of a freaking lot of time, okay? But
well, let me tell you that you're 1 in a million, and this office is 1 in a million, and I am proud to stand with you and do what I'm doing, which means you need to step up your game one more bit
Okay.
and keep doing what you're doing. You've already done it. The law doesn't require, and I can't say I need you to explain it. I say I need to see consent,
Okay.
and the only way I can see consent is in writing, right? I'm glad to know that you're all in business for life. I am glad to know that you take the time to explain things. I know you do because I backed you for 5.5 years. I won almost all of my fights for you. I only lost one, and I'll never forget. I'm not happy with it. By the way, don't tell anybody, but I'm still on the Facebook agent forum. Somehow there, and I'm watching it now. I am not commenting. Oh, I know, but you're all ROGs, so you're gonna behave.
Correct.
Leave me there, because all we can do is make our industry stronger. I have to prove things. The only thing you ever have proof of is what's in writing. And so you have to help me, and you have to understand this isn't about true professionals. This is about what the law calls for. And it's unfortunately for this office way down here in comparison to how we practice, and how we practice keeps us in business. And I want the law to start meeting this, which means, no, I'd actually, you're gonna hate me for this, I'd make it harder.
I'm not gonna hate you.
I
I think it's good. I'm just like,
Well,
I guess I brought up the whole brought up the whole limited representation thing because, okay, I know the brokers and stuff, but it's like a Realty One Group agent from Timbuktu that I've never met, will never ever see again.
all right.
I'm gonna now do limited representation, but then I could have a Home Smart agent that I'm like best friends with come and I don't have any forms, but there's no way to prove relationship.
Melissa would love to recruit your best friend from Homestead.
I really don't have a best friend.
All right, so I can't speak to if how that's looked at will shift. I could tell you in Illinois, the only time they have limited representation is in single agency,
Right.
period. Like you could be two agents from the same office and they just do
Wow.
single agency. But I can also tell you states don't see sales agent and brokers as two separate things many of the time. I could say if you want that to shift, if you want our agency law, which we don't have in writing other than 1101A, to shift or become law, you need to do that through Arizona Realtors, and they would have to create policy to pass it, which would be your legislative commission committee. Paul Baker is currently your chair of that. I am very upset sometimes when I am digging deep and I know and I can see what's wrong, but I can't get the law to line up with it because what we've learned is case study. So I have to go back to court cases and find what came out of that case and how they applied the statute. And then I have to see if my AG Attorney General will agree with me or not, because they have to back me if I get to the administrative law judge. So it's not black and white, that we have zero agency law other than 1101A, which says we have a fiduciary, which is not defined at all in the book, except Black Law Dictionary saying putting one before another, but we define it in pre-licensing. We define it on the ready form. What you have to remember is a lot of your forms, a lot of your practice was risk management. It's one of your value propositions of the Arizona Realtors, of your local associations, right? But all of what they're giving you is based on case law. So it's not black and white statute. And so I've spent 3 months retraining my auditors and investigators in defining it and showing them why and pulling out case law and creating resource pages. And my brain is on fire. And I am tired every night. This 3 months has been like, I'm like, I swear I'm off at 5, but I'm so wasted. I didn't read anything, just reading. So your struggles with that, there's one little area in that whole big book, and it's 2153A2.
Yeah. I just feel that if I went to a very, very small brokerage, that part of my job would be easier. But I don't want to because I feel like being here elevates my professionalism. The training I get, the colleagues I have, the company I'm affiliated with elevates my professionalism. But I feel that I'm, what's the word? I can't, now, all of a sudden, though, now limited representation because there's 10 million Realty One Group agents. But I feel like I'm a better agent than if I went to a teeny little brokerage that didn't offer what this offers, but now I don't have any limited representation. I feel like the balance is off for me personally. I may not
Yeah,
be
so
talking for anybody, but
I think you should get with Melissa, and Melissa should do a class on it or a breakout session where you all collaborate and come up with scripts. Because I can tell you that it does not matter the size. And Susan, our current commissioner, doesn't believe in she doesn't believe not in the concept of limited representation. Her brokerage was not allowed to practice it, which means she would have referred out a buyer. She would have referred out a seller. So you have give and take no matter where you are. It's how do you create value out of what you have to do lawfully.
Right.
So thank you for that discussion. Yeah, Manta.
Quick, any discussions about, how a lot of agents and you all must have come across where we are allowed to credit a buyer on their closing costs and part of whatever we are making that is considered legal, that we're allowed to credit back as the closing cost and
Okay, so that section, I can't recite the statute. Wait, I can. It's 322151.01. We have been studying. And the concept is
training.
And then you take that up against R428-502, which is advertising, or it might be 503. And so you're saying I can't advertise promotional items of inducement. This feels like inducement, but you're saying on a settlement statement, I can credit a buyer or a seller X amount of the compensation.
Right.
Well, you can't advertise it with it. You're correct. But why can you do it on the settlement statement? Because it's fully disclosed to all parties. So that's the difference. And the reason you can't hand someone money is because that's not fully disclosed to all parties, and that's considered inducement. But yes, you can, and it doesn't state it in law other than everything must be fully disclosed to all parties, and that is the one instrument all is. And all parties meaning lending, because lending actually needs that part of their loan estimate and closing disclosure, usually just the CD, right, Barb?
Right.
Escrow needs to see it. Title insurance wants to make sure it wasn't like from fraudulent activities, and the agents have to disclose it. So yeah, that's the one place you're allowed, but you cannot advertise with it because that's inducement.
Correct, and that's what I was saying, that are we going to continue to be allowed to?
Yeah, I hope that if, it comes down to $200 between a buyer being able to buy a house and not buy a house, that you guys step up and say, hey, $200, let me compensate you.
Oh, yeah, and that's what I was coming at, that yes, couple $100 just to make things happen.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but then.
But you all have different business plans, and who am I to tell you what to do?
So,
I can just tell you it's lawful. That's the other thing that's really hard about my job. I'm not paid to have an opinion. I'm paid to regulate the law. I'm gonna advise you all to go to azre.gov and download the law book.
From Michelle Lind? Or
No,
is it a different-
no,
an
our
actual
law
law
book,
book?
the
Okay.
actual Arizona real estate law book. Michelle Lynn's book, which is aaronline.com, has case law brought into it. I use that quite often. I'm very blessed to have the friends I've had in this industry to be able to get case studies from, to say, what do you look at when you're defending or, going after somebody? And they've been very forthcoming with giving me cases, but it's my job to go into those cases and pull all the info, which, that's time consuming. Also, your code of ethics does align with the law. Other than professional to professional. And other than 10.5, which is on discrimination, that is a whole nother department within the state. So when people say, well, that's just an ethics dispute. If it's against a consumer or a client, they're the public, right? That's my client. So that's me. If it's you to you, y'all figure it out. I'm out now. So those are things to kind of think about as well, of what actually gets filed with the department versus what doesn't. You are my customer, but your clients are my clients, the public. And I see licensees as part of the public too. And a lot of what we're doing, we're trying to also assist in making sure you're protected. Any other questions? This has been so much fun. I love you all. Please hug me.
Okay, don't go anywhere. Just stay to the side here so we don't start your hugs. We still have just a few things to do. So, whoops, I don't know where that's going to be viewing. Sorry, folks. Not sure what you're seeing. Here, I'll put it down. All right, let's go on. We have just a few more things. Who wants some wine? Tomorrow. Let me bring you back for food and wine tomorrow. So from 4 to 6, we bumped it just a little bit later because people weren't getting here at 3:30. So please come at 4 o'clock. I do plan on leaving right at 6. So don't ask me a question. I love hearing. Mandy's going to
At
laugh.
5:45.
Hey, do you have a set? Trust me, that set, I've never had anybody actually use a second. It's usually about 30 minutes. So, but that's it. So if you are not aware, if you refer 3 people, you get a free year of your monthly dues. So don't forget about that. They keep stacking on top of each other. So one here, one there, they do add up. All right, I did not forget about you. I was checking to make sure our affiliates back there were all hanging in there with having Mandy here. So please.
Sorry.
I'll be quick because I know we're past, but Barb Spitzhoff with Epic Lending. If you don't know who I am, I sit in the office by the kitchen and I'm available to you guys for one-on-ones to run scenarios by. We have a rate rebound program that if any of your clients are under contract by December 31st of this year, that they will have up to 5 years with me. And they will have up to 5 years to refinance at no lender fees and $1,000 towards title when they choose. It doesn't have to be when rates go down a half a point. It can be whenever they choose over that 5 years. So that's a huge bonus for people that are on the fence right now about interest rates. As we all know, we are hoping that interest rates come down, being election year next year. So we are all hoping for that. And then if that happens with already having a low inventory, everyone's going to be going for the same houses. So it's better to get people in homes this year that can afford to be, and then refinance next year, the year after. And the other thing is our social media classes. New picture. You keep putting the old picture up.
Well, oops, the wrong one.
Old picture, sorry. I do.
We'll get a new one.
But the social media classes are quick. They're a half hour just to kind of help you guys with, last week was TikTok. So I think they're posting in the newsletter, the recording from last week, if you missed it. There's one this Thursday for a half hour at 11 for Facebook. I'm not sure what next week's will be, but I'll send that out. If you're not getting my email, just reach out to me and I'm happy to add you to that distribution so that you can get the link to register and hop on for that half hour. And hopefully you get some tidbits to help you get your presence better known on social media. So thank you. Any questions?
Do you have the program with no down payments?
No, what do you mean?
I'm getting some of these.
Yeah,
first-time
down
buyers.
payment.
I just got one from.
So we have FHA, 2 down payment assistance programs in-house.
Mhm.
So reach out to me about that. We don't have a conventional one yet. We are working on one. But if you're interested in the 2 FHAs that we have, one is a repayable and one is a forgivable.
Okay,
So it depends on their credit score and their whole scenario, but I'm happy to go through that with you guys. I mean, obviously FHA loans go up to like 530,000 thereabout. And if people are on the fence and they don't have the money for down payment or closing costs, then go the FHA route. The interest rates are a little bit lower right now. They can always refinance. So reach out. I'm happy to run it for you.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
for sticking around. Yay. All right, Sarah is here. Oh, and Artie's here too. I actually have a second slide for you on your lovely October event.
Oh,
So
awesome.
I have the second
Great.
slide, so just, so you know.
Good morning, everyone. I know some of you, I don't know all of you. I'm Sarah Geiger. I'm also with Rock Title and I support Greenland. So I'm standing in for them today. We brought you some fresh fruit, yogurt, muffins, pastries. Please take advantage of it. I don't want to take it home. Okay. I just want to say a couple of things. Just by a show of hands, how many of you have honestly been to onerockstars.com? Raise your hand. Okay, well, that's good. That's a good amount. But I just want to say, Mamta brought up a great point in education. And this is our little flyer. It might be here still. I'll leave it at the front, but please log in. Yeah, it's up there. Log into onerockstars.com because we have some great classes for you. Really, 100% we're here to support you. And a couple of things I want to read to you are the upcoming classes this month. And one of them is what Mamta brought up exactly. So on the 31st, essentials to make your Google business profile work for you. How many of you have a Google business profile? Great. So those of you that do not, I would still recommend that you log in and you can also go back into our library to see how to create that. Justin's created some great tools for you on Google Business.
But let me jump in here. Yeah, please, when you do that, you cannot put this address. This is not
Good
your
point.
work address.
Yeah.
This is Realty One Group's work address. You can't have multiple people at the same address. So if you do your Google profile, use your home address and just put do not publish the address. Because you probably will have to do a postcard. You just can't do it to here, okay?
That's a great point. And the office phone number too.
Yeah, no, use your own phone number, please.
So this one is on, no, I'm sorry, this one already happened. You can go back into the library and watch past classes. So this was on our website on 8/31. We're doing our classes every Thursday at 1 p.m. That is Rock University. The upcoming class will be this Thursday, how to engineer the perfect Chat GPT prompt for real estate. So if you have not taken any of the Chat GPT or AI classes, you can also go back into the library. We want you to attend the live class, but they're all housed in our library, so you can go back and watch at your leisure. But definitely take advantage of that. Get a leg up, like Mamta said. In 2 years, who knows what this will be doing for us? But I would say take advantage of what you can learn through us now. And then on the 21st, discover 5 lead gen levers to grow your business. So really, our whole goal with Rock University is to help you grow, help you stand out from the crowd, help you gain knowledge and whatever is up and coming, like ChatGPT or AI. And reach out to Bree and Lynn. If you haven't taken an opportunity to sit down with one of them to maybe go over your business plan 2024 and beyond, reach out to them. They're a great resource for you. And Art, he's a great resource too. Art has some really important things to chat with you about. So
My name is Art Tinobuck. I work up there as the senior restaurant officer here. I work with Julia. She was the manager here. She had to go up because she had a signing coming in. I am bilingual, so I do speak Mandarin. Just kidding. I'm just gonna bring this up because I run into this all the time. My name is Art Tinobuck. The C is part of my last name. Everything is the middle initial. I put the Baca, but I just gonna throw it out there. Tinobuck is my last name. I want to talk, Maggie had a good point about the land fraud. We're seeing a lot of that now. And what we're doing to combat that is we're doing RON signing, which is remote online notaries. When you do that, they videotape you. They do a security system where they do like 6 questions where only that person would know. You've probably done it before, where they ask you, okay, did you ever live at one of these addresses? They give you 5 addresses.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever own one of these cars? Well, they do that, and there's no way that person cannot know that information. If that person can't answer the information, they won't sign them, they'll put them to fraud. So that's what we're doing to combat that on the land fraud stuff. Other than that, we're here to help you with where we can. She's here to do the marketing, Lynn and Bree here to do marketing. We just did a class yesterday upstairs.
Yes.
And we're doing those once a month for you while you're.
Yeah, so I usually have a managers meeting the 2nd Monday of each month. So you know how we have the Monday mastermind, I usually can't be here for one of those Mondays. So between Epic and Rock Title, they work together to provide content for that other class. I surprised the poor people. I am so sorry about that. I walked in. I'm like, what time do you?
they like to surprise us.
Yeah. It definitely was a surprise, but it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I think it helped the classroom. It helped the thing. So it was great. I know Bonnie was there. She liked it.
Yeah, I actually learned something.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
because so, we do that every Monday, and we normally do it upstairs. Sometimes we do it down here, depending. I think we did it upstairs, but we actually did it at Zoom.
Right, it was recorded. We need to
Right.
steal that, to put it onto our YouTube channel.
Right.
Look, we can tell Mandy that she's got recordings on a YouTube channel she didn't know about.
Or not that
I'm not gonna watch them.
She was working for the government. They are classes. So, but
I'm so female, it's unreal.
so how many of you saw the Rock Title classes on my newsletter? Okay, so how many of you realize when you scroll down, we have a little arrow saying there's more, and there's a little line that says click here. Because underneath there are all of our partners. We're trying to rotate them up so they're in the top part of it every week. But please scroll down because we just can't get all the content of all the classes that Rock Title, Epic, they're all providing us this information. And look, I can split it up and do 3 emails a week if you want, but I kind of like that Sunday email that has as much data in it so you can plan your week ahead. So please go all the way down. That's where we got all those other classes.
And if you're opening the newsletter on your phone, it's a little box that'll say read more or more. You tap the box, it'll scroll down. But I do want to take a moment to just say, well, we'll also talk about this, but I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you that has given us a shot. Continue to stay with us month after month, year after year. We really do appreciate your partnership, really, truly, from all of us at Rock Title.
Thank you.
Really cool event for October. Would one of you like to explain what this awesome opportunity is? There are 3 different dates.
This is actually, we're gonna go volunteer. Me and my wife are gonna go October 6th. We're gonna go here, and what we're doing is we're helping putting packages together for people who are coming in and adopting dogs. We're giving them a package with treats and food and collars.
Where are
and
the
stuff like
animal
that.
lovers in this group?
My
Oh,
son runs.
Oh
that
my
place,
God.
yeah.
This is near and dear to our heart.
Yeah,
Can we go cut the dog?
yeah.
So we have-
You can
We have opportunities for
Or
our
you guys-
partners.
come and volunteer with us.
We would love it. We would love it. And there's a few dates. So if you
Sign up here,
would
boom.
scan the barcode. next
Limited
to our-
spots, because they can only take so many people in to do the packaging, so
But we
please
would
make
love
sure you
this.
register.
Every year we get to kind of vote on what charities we're going to be involved in, and this was a huge push for us. We know that it's been really tough with our shelters and,
With the
Um,
heat,
the
oh my
heat.
God.
yeah, so this is much needed and near and dear to all
All
of
right,
us.
and I saw this, Paul, I got 2 dogs and a cat, I'm like, I'm in,
Yeah.
let me pick a day. And I didn't even ask my wife, and I know me, have to check my wife, I said, no.
You don't
I called my wife and said, woman, we're going this day. We're going
All right.
She said, yes, sir.
Thank you all for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Kim is not here with Old Republic, but please remember, we have 2 home warranty companies that are affiliates. Their information for both of them is over there. How many of you talk to your buyers about home warranties? How many of you get asked, which one should you pick? Okay, and how many of you say, I'm not going to tell you, here are some options? All hands should be up there, all hands, right? You do not choose for your buyer, remember? You give them the information. What I used to say to my buyers is, if you're concerned about it, read the exclusions, right? Don't read what they cover, read what they don't cover, because it's an insurance policy, right?
But what they mostly ask us is, what's the best one that you've seen or your other clients have had good luck with? And I tell them that. Because that's exactly what, if they're asking me that, I give them a couple of options and say,
But please give them a couple of options.
Oh, I
Don't
always-
tell them one. Give them a couple of options. And there are other services out there now that are a mix between home warranty and concierge that are available. I know we're running long. This is the last slide. Buyers, sellers, anybody got something quick? Because I know people are trying to share what they're working on. Yes.
I've got 2, but one I can't talk about because of non.
Oh, you know what? Actually, hold on a second. That's a really good point. Let me just tell you, the Lucille's Baked Goods is our guest next month. It's an opportunity for something that you can give as a gift. Thank you, Robert, for directing me to them, to your clients. So hopefully we'll have some little baked goods that'll be a treat. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording if I can figure out where my stop recording is on here.
stop share. Stop
Well,
share.
stop share is just to the other thing, but
The other toolbar that says stop video.
Yeah.
this is stopping the recording and then I can end my thing. Sorry, folks. Anybody in there? We're gonna go ahead and shut that down.